Okay, so what we're looking at here is question 7 just in your textbook, and what you've been asked to do is you've been asked to find the values of A and B in each of the diagrams below. So if we have a look here, so we have A and B in this question one is unknown. So what you've been asked to do is to solve for A and B. Now the way that you do this, so if we remember with a triangle, like let's say, so in the triangle you have the three angles, okay, so you have this angle here, this angle here, and then this angle here. Okay, so you have three angles. Okay, sorry now. So you have these three. Okay, let's try it like this. So you have these three angles. So you have this angle, and then this angle here. Now, if we remember the angles, so the three angles in a triangle will add up to 180 degrees. So what does that mean? So it means that 45 plus 80, okay, plus A is equal to 180 degrees. So what you have to do is you have to find out what A is. So what we can do is we can add these two up. So 45 and 80. So 45 plus 80 is equal to 125. Okay, so it's equal to, so 125 plus A is equal to 180. Now remember with algebra, we want to, so we're trying to solve for A. So we want to get rid of the everything, all of the numbers that are around A. Now if we look at this, so this is plus 125. Okay, so in order to get rid of that, we have to do the opposite of that. So we have to subtract. So we have to minus 125 from this side. And remember, when there's an equal signs, if we subtract 125 from one side, we have to subtract 125 from the other side as well. So minus 125. So these will cancel out. So this is plus 125 minus 125. They'll cancel out. And then A is going to be equal to, so it's going to be 180 minus 125. So if we can do that. So if we have a look, so cancel this, and so we have 180 minus 125. Then that's equal to 55. Okay, so the angle A is equal to 55 degrees. Okay, so that's the angle in here. So A, that's equal to 55 degrees. So now what we have to do is we have to find out what's the angle B. Now if we have a look here at this section here, so what we notice is that you have this line that's passing through, and then you have this line here, okay? So if this is, remember, if we were to, so another way, let's say if we were to write it like this. So you have a line going like this, and then you have an angle coming out of it, okay? And what it's saying is that one side of the angle is 80, okay? And then it's asking you to find out what B is. So this is B, okay? So we know that the whole thing, okay, if you're to go from here to here, that's going to be 180 degrees, okay? So what you have here is you have 80 degrees. So what's B going to be? Well, B is going to be equal to 180 minus 80, which is equal to 100 degrees. Okay, so this angle here, so the angle B here is going to be equal to 180, sorry, is going to be equal to 100 degrees. And the reason it's 100 degrees is because if you were to take, if you were to take this angle here and this angle here, both of them together is going to be 180 degrees. Remember, you have a straight line, okay, and it forms an angle of 180 degrees. But what we're saying is that 80 of the degrees are taken up with this angle, so the remaining 100 will be going into this angle here. So that's how you do that one. If we have a look at question 2, so if we have a look here, okay, so remember we have like what are known as corresponding angles. So if we take, so if this is 80 here, okay, then this here has to be, then this angle here has to be 80 as well, okay, because these are corresponding angles. This whole thing here is going to be 360 degrees. So if we have a look, I'll just draw it out here. So we have, okay, it might be easier if I just draw, if I use lines. So bear with me now. Okay, so let's just draw this, okay? So we have two angles that are crossing each other like this. Okay, so this is just this piece here. So what we're saying is that this angle up here is 80. Okay, so therefore this angle down here has to be 80 as well. Okay, this is an unknown, but A is an unknown, but this angle A is going to be this. These two are going to be the same as well because they're opposite angles. They're going to be equal to each other. Now, if we remember, this whole thing here is equal to. So let's say if you're to look at the whole thing, so the whole way right around is going to be equal to 360 degrees. Okay. Now, what we can say is that of that 360 degrees, we have two 80 degrees. So we have 80 and 80 is 180. So if we add up 80 and 80, so 80 plus 80, so that's equal to 160. Okay, so these two angles, the 80 and the 80 here, add up to 160. So if we subtract that from 360, so 360 minus, what did I say it was, 160 minus 160 is equal to, so 360 minus 160 is equal to 200. So that's equal to 200 degrees. So 200 degrees. So if we take these, so after we take out these two angles here, okay, the 80 and the 80, when we take those away from the 360, we're left with 200 degrees. Okay, so those 200 degrees are split between these two angles here, because remember they're equal, they're opposite and equal angles. So therefore, another way to kind of think about this is that 2 times A is going to be equal to 200 degrees. So that's 2 multiplied by A is equal to 200 degrees. Therefore, A, if we want to find out what A is, remember this is 2 multiplied by A. So I have to divide this by 2 in order, because it's the opposite of, division is the opposite of multiplication. So we divide this by 2. If I divide this side by 2, I have to divide this side by 2. And therefore A then is going to be equal to 100 degrees. Okay, so that goes in there once, that goes in there once, and that goes in there 100 times. So what we know now is that A is equal to 100. So A is equal to 100 degrees. If this one's 100 degrees, then this one is equal to it as well. So it's equal to 100 degrees. So that's how you would do. So let's say that's the first part. That's how you figure out what A is. So this is question 2. So then the next part then is, so we know now that so for example, we know now that this one here, this angle in here is 80 degrees. This angle is 45 degrees. Now if we add up these 3 angles, the 3 of them are going to add up to 180 degrees. So how would we do that part? So it's going to be 80 plus 45 plus B, which is our unknown, is equal to 180 degrees. So just to remind ourselves where this came from, so the 80 comes from here. Okay, we know this is 80 degrees. If this angle is 80 degrees up here, this is an opposite angle and it's equal, so this is 80 degrees as well. So the 45 degrees is coming from here, and the B is coming from here. It's the unknown. So this is just a simple algebra expression. And the whole lot of these, if we add this, this, and this, they're all going to add up to 180 degrees. So if we add these up, so 80 plus 45, so 80 plus 45 is equal to 125. So it's going to be 125 plus B is equal to 180. So now we have to find out again, we want to get rid of the 125 from here. So this is plus 125, so we have to minus 125. If I minus 125 from this side, I have to minus 125 from this side. So plus 125 minus 125, they will cancel out. And then the angle B is going to be equal to 180 minus 125. So 180 minus 125, so that's equal to 55. So B then is going to be equal to 55 degrees. So that's your answer to B. So B then is 55 degrees. Okay, and guys, I'll let you, so that's just the first two of those questions done. So I'll let you work on this question here. So it's the same kind of thing. You're going to first of all, if you have a look at this, okay, so we can see that this angle, and this angle are all going to be equal to each other. Okay, so if this is 40, then what's this? What's this? And we know that this angle here, A and B, when you add the both of them up, they're going to be equal to 180 degrees because you have this straight line or straight angle here. And so you'll be able to work that out based on what you have there. So give it a go. Okay, so I hope this clarifies those type of questions. The same with question 9 on page 253. Again, I want you to work on this question. If you can't do it by Monday, I'll do a video and I'll show you how to do it. But I want you to work on the questions, guys. Give them as best a go as you can. And then if you're really, really stuck and you can't do them, let me know and I can make a video for you. Okay, thanks, guys.